We're still in the offseason here in 2023 with the Philadelphia Eagles, but we're going to look at some of our star players, chiefly one of our second best cornerback and our star wide receiver, to kind of glean what we can from the offseason, what we've been learning, what they've been learning, and reading in between the lines. What's up? It's your boy Cintron coming back at you with another analysis video, and I kid you not, that's my real name. Ain't really gonna be no news today. This is kind of the news and analysis, so combine those into one. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. James Bradberry definitely wanted to come back to Philly. The Eagles cornerback talked about free agency and what he's seen from the new defensive coaches, coordinator, position coaches, all that. So let's get into it. Peanut, Milk Dud. Hey, it's shining, boy. He do look handsome in his profile picture, though. No homo. Don't care if you think that, whatever. But anyways, I just like, I'm not gonna read this whole paragraph, but I love how he credited the D-line for having success, for him having success last year. He knows that they're part and parcel, that the defensive line gets pressure and the back end is able to hold up, but also the back end holds up so the defense can, be afforded the time to get pressure. So they're kind of synonymous in that they work together and they're symbiotic. You can't have one without the other. And even in the extremes, the other will get exposed because the other is not doing their job. So, and hopefully the middle linebackers, the linebackers are the glue that hold together, but also can make plays and play in both ends. So, that'd be the perfect defense to have. We'll see what Sean decides able to put out there as far as a product out there on the field. On returning to Philly, he wasn't sure if he'd be back. But, it's a great situation. He loves being here. Yeah, he took less. He was offered more. He got $12 million, I think, a year. He could have made, more in $3 million at the very least, to stray from the path that is the Philadelphia Eagles. But he decided to stay. Glad he did. I'm glad, in retrospect, I'm glad that C.J. Gardner-Johnson decided to do what he did, not take the contract, even if it was, maybe a horrible deal, from what we're hearing, a 3-year deal with, it being backloaded at $16 million, like on the last year of the deal. He would have got the money. It just would have been, funny money as far as the way it was organized and shuffled around. But I'm so glad in retrospect he did not take the contract that was offered on the table, because that allowed us to restructure Slay, who was potentially going to be a cut or a trade on the way out, and lose Bradberry. If we would have lost both our corners, it would have been a tremendous rebuilding effort at that position to try and just get it back to stability. Now we have the stability in place, and yes, he's Slay's gonna be 33, I think, in the next season. Then Bradberry will be either 30 or 31. And yes, they're up in age, they're not young, but that's why you draft a Keely Ringo. It costs you a 4th round pick, and a 3rd next year, so really a 3rd and a 4th. But a great steal from a guy who's projected to go most likely in the 2nd round. Could have been a 1st round surprise, but his drop was precipitous, and we swooped in like an eagle and grabbed a good lunch morsel to go for the to be packaged for the future as far as training him up, and he'll get to that as well later. One of the defensive coaching changes. He said Sean decided seems like a smart guy, but we've heard this before with Gannon, so I don't want to go on that. Even though I do know he's an intelligent guy, and I actually read the article on him, but it just didn't offer too much. He's coming in with his wife. They have a family. I think 2 boys. He's made for the city. He coached at Temple. He's used to Philly. He's not going to shy away from the spotlight or the rigors of coaching in Philly, and the Iron Kettle. Getting that from Vinland Saga anime head. But the Iron Maiden that it can be here, by way of the media just grilling you. But, he's kind of not born and bred here, but he has the makeup to endure whether that, the tough storms that are, Philly's going to bring. And better than Gannon, who, basically he shied away from, not the limelight, but from, the responsibility that comes with, glory is great. But being able to, can you stay in the ring? Can you take the shots that are going to be thrown at you? And he just proved to be a little bit too thin-skinned. Glad he's out of here, with his focus not being purely on the job. He already had his head in the clouds, envisioning himself as a head coach. which he most likely would have become, and he did. So, anyways, yeah, he said he's gonna put them in a position to make plays, and by way of scheme, hopefully he does a better job than Gannon in that. He's juxtaposed to him in that regard. And then DK McDonald, he became our DB's coach. Yeah, man. Denard Wilson, I think he was hung up on the idea of him elevating to the D coordinator spot. But I know we really felt burned by Gannon and burned by the whole experience. Elevating somebody with, I don't think he had any previous D coordinator experience before coming here to Philly or being elevated here in Philly. So I think he was hired, flat out hired. But yeah, I mean, like, he didn't want a repeat of history, so we decided to go with a guy. Even though he only has 1 year of experience as a head coach, he was assistant pass game coordinator in Seattle under Pete Carroll. Yeah, that made a load, difference. He, had good stats and good data he produced there in the Windy City. Didn't have as much talent as he has now, and we restocked and got him some guys, Jalen Carter, Keely Ringo, brought him in, retained some talent, that we were slated to lose, guys that were gonna leave, but the cupboard is far from being bare here in Philly, and we're gonna get a full scope of the picture that he's gonna paint with his brush here in Philly, and hopefully it's something that that can even if it isn't appreciated by people that have an art palette, the elite. It can be appreciated by the people who have a keen eye for talent. And I mean, I just really want to see what he's going to bring to this defense. And we'll get into that a little bit here. But yeah, he said they're saying the scheme seems flexible and allow the guys to make plays. So that's what you really want. That's what Gannon didn't do. It was epitomized in the Super Bowl, where he had guys playing out of position, guys doing things they shouldn't have been doing that doesn't suit their skill set, but kind of just bang your head against the wall as far as just the play. The play that the Chiefs called, the play to defend it calls for this, and we're stuck in a square peg in a round hole, just doing this just for the sake of that's what the I'm gonna call. That's what the play sheet that's what I'm gonna call it because it's on the play sheet. If you don't make no motherfucking adjustments, and he just did it, which is just insane, and just having us out, in bad positions and in disadvantageous positions, and in just getting out coached, and it really showed out there. And people saying the player's gonna do what the coordinator ask of them. If they play outside of the scheme, that's mutiny, and they're gonna be benched. And then a poor talent is going to come on the field, and it's going to look even worse. Even if they have the requisite talent to do, even if they listen to what the coach tells them to do, they don't have the requisite talent. They can't do it anyway. There's a reason they're a backup. So, I mean, this whole Gannon saga really exposed a lot, and it cost us a Super Bowl, unfortunately. But that's a lesson that hopefully we had to learn to hopefully reap the rewards in the future and get back to a Super Bowl and hopefully this time win it, because Jalen balled out. Barring one mistake with a fumble. Other than that, it's just, it is what it is, and you're gonna make at least one mistake. Patrick Mahomes wasn't perfect in the Super Bowl, even though he lambasted us, even with the horrible defense he was going against. He wasn't perfect. So, yeah, that tells you that we can do a lot if we don't stray from the path. So Bradberry said that so far the scheme is similar, but certain coverages and things like that will be different. So man coverages are going to be mostly the same because it involves you just covering the man on man. That involves your individual skill set being put to the test there, and not so much a scheme. Man to man just tells you what it's going to be. But zone coverage, different guys going to want you to play different, have different ideas of what depth should be in for that play. On the zone, shading, outside to inside, technique, releases, how where your eyes should be, eye discipline. So they're gonna ask a lot of different things for you, and how they coach and how they teach it is gonna be different, from guy to guy, and what they feel most comfortable their guys doing to try to and get get what they want to accomplish in this game? Is it to stop the long ball, which Gannon was really afraid of. He played like a pussy because he is one. He just didn't have any confidence, and I think that's how he sees himself. So it's a projection of how he would coach on the field, which we saw. But Sean Desai, I don't see that in him so far. I think he's a guy that willing to take chances, do whatever he takes to get the job done. But his just makeup, I think, is just diametrically opposed to Gannon. And I think Sean wants to get after them. He really means it. He wants to get after them. Isn't going to strictly rely on his scheme and talent of the players. Just relax and get lazy. He's going to actually cook up things, even if they doesn't need it. But just to put looks out there and stuff like that. Gannon didn't do it. He was just like, oh, this is working. It's like he's playing Madden. Hey, same play is working, so let's run it all the time. Like, you can't do that. You can't get lazy as a coordinator. You're going to get exposed, and he did on the highest stage. But yeah, it'll be different, So yeah, what is his goal with the defense? Is it primarily to get stops? Is it primarily to hold the quarterback in check? Is it bend but don't break? We shall see. And that tells a lot about the coordinator. Their personality is basically on display when they call plays and how they have the players playing, how much freedom they allow the players to have, and changing plays, scheme, checking out of things and stuff like that. So we shall see. But yeah, here's what I was talking about earlier. He's excited to develop the next level of talent, the next wave of talent. So Kelee Ringo, he needs a lot of work. The reason he went in the 4th round is because he is a great straight line, has great straight line speed, good size, good hitter, but he's not consistent in his technique. He's only a redshirt sophomore, so he has a lot to learn. I had 2 years of eligibility he gave up when he came out in the draft here, and he's 20. He's gonna be turning 21, so he's just a greenhorn. He's a young guy, and he has a lot he can glean from these Pro Bowl, All Pro corners in Darius Slay and James Bradberry. So let the learning games begin. Let the study session begin. Do your homework, son. They're gonna give a lot to you. Put it on your plate, but too much is given, much is expected from him. So hopefully we see him elevate up the depth chart and have a bigger role going into elevating into the year as the year progresses and going to next year, because we don't know how Bradberry and Slay are gonna be next year. They're gonna be a year older, and also just scheme. But we need we're losing players that are not gonna be here next year, that are 1-year deals or the contract is expiring. So we shall see. But we need to get younger at the position. So next year I want to see us bring in a handful of corners. Especially if the undrafted free agent guys like Eli Ricks and Mickey don't stick. So we shall see. He says he wants to see improvement in interceptions. Yeah, man. He might be freed up to be kind of more of a playmaker in this defense, and instead of just a bail guy and just a gum stick and tape coverage guy to hold things together instead of actually going out there and make plays. When we had a D line, which put us in a position to do so, but like I said, the coordinator just tells you. He said guys are still recovering. Boo Smith-Schuster face him in week 1. He'll see how he feels after that. I don't think he's gonna do anything. He's gonna be lockdown city out there. And then with the Chiefs, there's Tony, Sky Moore. I forget the other guys, but they have a plethora of options there. I think they drafted another guy at the end of the round, not the Boston College guy, Zay Flowers. It might have been Zay Flowers, I think they did draft him. So we'll see. They present an interesting challenge. All right, so I'm going to flip over to A.J. Brown, our star-studded receiver on the offensive side. And he said he's more focused on being a complete receiver, which should be scary for the rest of the league. He said, he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder from the Super Bowl. It is what it is. Hey, you train hard, you work hard, and you put in, the hours. You can't think that, this isn't going to be worth it, or, you can't think about the what ifs. Just put your all out there, and this may not be your time, even if you do put in that work, even if you want it bad, like you said. But, it could be your time next time. So you can't lax. You got to always put your foot, your nose to the grindstone and just keep chipping away, keep working at it. You know what I'm saying? Love that mentality in him. On his off-season improvement and routine, like you said here, he's not going to give away too much, because that would just, be telling on himself and be dumb in retrospect. But he said he's trying to be a more well-rounded receiver, so he can work on his releases. He can work on hand fighting. He can work on his adjustments and shooting his hands out there late, to get the ball better, and or eye discipline, not cluing in the corner to when he's receiving the ball. But one of my favorites, he can make all of his routes look the same. Like if he can do that Jerry Rice stuff, run all the routes and make, hey, this slant looks the same as this post, is the same as this deep crosser, is the same as this in, same as this stop and go, stutter and go. I mean, like, if you can do that, man, you're elevating to master technician. And then like peak AJ Brown. I mean, AJ Brown, his cousin, Antonio Brown. That's what I'm talking about. Running your routes at the same different speeds. Don't always run your routes 100%, at 100% speed, 60, 80, 40. Ramp it up throughout the game. Trick guys into making them think that you're running full speed, and then you slowly change up the pacing, and what do you call it? Chop your feet a different set number of times. I mean, just things to keep guys guessing. They can't get a beat on you because they're gonna do their film study. He was a 1,400 receiver, almost a 1,500 receiver last year. 10 plus TDs, close to 100 receptions. He balled out, but there's always more to be had. He's only going to be 26 in June, so he can still get better. He's still a young guy. Still hasn't even hit. He's hitting his prime like just right about now. So there's so much more he can do. He said, the sky's the limit. We're going to be in better shape, which is just crazy. He's in phenomenal shape, 6'1", 226, T.O.-esque. But he still doesn't have a body like T.O. Maybe you can go to T.O. and get that. Don't want too much taint on him. So maybe pause on that. But man, the guy is amazing. Amazing athlete out there. So many things that he can get better. Like you said, he's working with Devontae Smith, trying to pick each other's brain, which is great. He hasn't worked with Jalen this offseason that much. It's not that he isn't coming in it to work. It's he's working on his own things. It just shows his greatness. The attention to detail. The devil is in the details, and he wants to be the best. He wants to elevate himself maybe to top 3 receivers in the league if he's not already there, to the top position. With Jay Jetter and Devontae Adams, I think 1 and 2 interchangeably. Who knows? I would put Jamar Chase at number 3. So maybe he's top 5, but he can still get better. But yeah, picking Devontae's brain, and he's taking him under his wing. Lots of things he can learn from the young guy as well. But I love that, playing off each other, because they're 1A, 1B. They're such a dynamic duo, and I hope they stay healthy this season. But it'll be interesting to see what they learn, what new tricks that these young dogs are learning. And man, it's exciting because that they're hungry, man. They're freaking hungry. 1,100 yards from one receiver and then 1,400 from the other. I think maybe he did go over 100 receptions, but he's happy with the roster that we built this year. Strong. I love the way he was teasing Michael Parsons. About, hey man, just gonna hold and take this L, man. We are getting better. And Brian Johnson, I know he's excited to see what he's going to present as a coordinator out there. And yeah, he wants to get the best of the team, so he's going to bring his best. And you saw that AJ, he kind of got emotional at times, a little overly emotional, but he's going out there to win it. So he's in it to win it, and we'll see what these guys bring to the table this year. But man, that's going to be the end of our video. I know I'll talk too long at some points and went off on some tangents, but I love football, man. It just is what it is. It's a great sport. Anyways, we're going to get up out of here. You're not even watching, though. But it's all good, because as always, it's fly, Eagles, fly, and let's motherfucking go. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.